The second aspect that we are going to take up is continuous. Present continuous. We also call it present progressive. How do you form a progressive aspect? We have already seen VING form, what we call present participle. Normally, we mistake ing form for continuous aspect. That is a mistake. Ing form is not progressive. It is present participle. It is a lexical item, but it can be independent. When we add ing, we have to use auxiliary verbs before VING. You have clutch on one side. You need clutch on the other side too. The clutch that we are going to give here is be form. Remember, when you're adding ing, it must have be form as the helping verb. You can't use ing without be form. Once you use the be form, then you have a progressive aspect. Mere ing form alone does not make a continuous aspect. So, what are the be forms that you can use in the present progressive tense? It can be am, is, are. So, present continuous tense is equal to am, is, are plus present participle. Again, present continuous tense will have am or is or are as helping verbs. You can ask being, been, to be or also be forms, but they are not used in present continuous. I am coming. We are going, or Tom and Jim are going. You are smiling. He is dancing, or Tom is dancing. She is singing, or Sarah is singing. It is sleeping, or the cat is sleeping. They are eating, or Jim and Kim are eating. So you find that I goes with am. He or she or it go with is. You, whether it is singular or plural, will go with are. The same with we or they. So, you or we or they will go with are. As the name indicates, a progressive aspect tells you about an action that is progressing, that is going on. I am talking. You are listening. The light is burning. The fan is running. She is coming. So, when you are talking about an action in progress, you have to use ing form. I go to school by bus every day, but today I am going to school by car. The first one refers to a regular habitual action and it is in simple present tense. Normally or repeatedly, you are going to school only by bus, but today you are not going by bus, you are going by car. The second sentence is in continuous aspect. That is the difference between simple aspect and continuous. I always speak in Tamil, but today I am speaking in English. The first one refers to a habitual action, but the second one refers to continuous action. What is the difference between I come from Bangalore? I am coming from Bangalore. The first one is in the simple aspect. The second one is in the continuous aspect. So, when I say I come from Bangalore, I can say that my native place is Bangalore and I have come from Bangalore. When I say I am coming from Bangalore, you are driving or you are in the process of traveling and the action is progressing. So, when the action is progressing, you have to use continuous form. How do you form the continuous? By adding ing to the verb, making it into present participle, and then you have to give a corresponding be form of the verb am, is, are. But remember that there are certain verbs which cannot be used in continuous form. It is incorrect to say, I am knowing you. It must be, I know you. It is incorrect to say, I am remembering you. It must be, I remember you. It is incorrect to say, I am understanding. It must be, I understand. Some of the verbs like know, remember, understand, etc. will not take ing form. Probably, you may be referring to a continuous action, but still these verbs don't have ing form. Some more examples where the verbs do not take ing form. It is incorrect to say, I'm smelling gas. It must be, I smell gas. It is incorrect to say, I am forgiving. The correct form is, I forgive. It is incorrect to say, it is belonging to me. The correct form is, it belongs to me. So, these are certain verbs where you don't use the ing form. Other verbs which don't take ing form are like. It is incorrect to say, I am liking you. The correct form is, I like you. It is incorrect to say, I am wanting this. The correct form is, I want this. It is incorrect to say, I am remembering. It must be, I remember. I'm feeling cold. Wrong sentence. I feel cold. Correct usage. Of course, you can say that. The doctor is feeling the pulse, where it is acceptable. But we don't say, I'm feeling bad. We have to say, I feel bad. Similarly, you have to say, I have a pen. It is incorrect to say, I'm having a pen. But you can say that she is having a nice time, where it is acceptable. So here, you have to look at the appropriation of usage. In certain instances, they are acceptable. In certain instances, they are not acceptable. You have to remember that your language proficiency is indicated by you using a right tense, the right aspects, in the right appropriate condition. Then only your level of understanding language can be understood. So now, I will give some more examples to show the difference between the simple aspect and continuous. You can say that it normally rains during the winter season. It is in simple present tense. It refers to a general action. It is raining now. It is in present continuous tense. The action is progressive. Another example. The sun rises in the east. It is now setting in the west. So, first one refers to regular action, which is in simple present tense. The other action, that is in progress or in present continuous tense. My mother usually cooks, but today my father is cooking. So, habitually your mother cooks at home, but today your mother is not well or sick, and your father is doing that. So, when you refer to an action that is in progress, you have to use a continuous aspect. There is a tendency among us to use present continuous while referring to habitual actions. We have already seen that while referring to habitual action, we have to use only simple present. We often hear people say, "He is singing in concerts. He is working very hard. I'm always listening to the Western classical." In the above sentences, you would have noticed that all the lexical verbs are in VING form, that is continuous form, but they refer to a habitual action. But a habitual or repeated action should be in simple present tense. So, the correct way of saying is that he sings in concerts regularly. He works very hard. I always listen to Western classical. But also, we hear complaints like, "My child is always eating chocolates. My son is always playing computer games. My son is always watching TV." The sentences are in present continuous tense, but it refers to a habitual action. When we refer to a habitual action repeated very often and we are not happy about, we can use continuous aspect or present continuous tense. But you can refer to these actions in simple present also. It is acceptable in both the forms. You can say, "My child always eats chocolates. My son always plays computer games. My son always watches TV." These actions may be habitual actions. Technically, you have to use only simple present. But in complaints of this nature, continuous aspect is also permitted. Some more examples to understand this usage. This student is always creating problem in the class. He is always speaking in the class. It is an acceptable form of expression. Again, you can refer to these actions in simple present also. It is acceptable in both the forms. You can say, "This student always creates problem in the class. He always speaks in the class." Another common mistake that we always hear is using verbs in continuous which we should not use. We often hear people saying, "I am wanting this." Wanting should not be used. You should say only, I want this. Some verbs do not exist in VING form or present participle form. What is the difference between these two sentences? I am extravagant. It is in simple present form. I am being extravagant. It is in present continuous. Note here, we are using helping verb being as the main verb and am is the helping verb. The first one is in the simple aspect. It refers to my habit. I spend a lot. The second one, I am being extravagant, is in the continuous tense. It means that I am spending freely at this point of time. I am in a mall or in a shopping place and I am spending a lot. The first one is simple present and the second one is present continuous. Now we go to the next aspect in the present tense. We are going to take up perfect.